Hello, everyone, and welcome back to I Quit My Band. We got a little extra episode for you this week.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, making up
fellas?
for that one you didn't get.
Yeah, making up for the.
You could get it though.
Yeah.
on Patreon. Go
$5.
watch the Face Off episode
Yeah.
between White Stripes and the Black Keys.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't go on our YouTube channel, so we're doing a little bit of a.
Little page.
Yeah, we're scrambling a little bit, and
Jack White caught us on our back foot.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
are reeling here.
we're trying to just make up for lost
The
content
lawsuits
here.
are pouring in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they might pour in here. Too.
Yeah.
Who knows?
We're not sure.
We're going to give it a shot.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna give it a shot.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a review of the new Queens of the Stone Age record that we just got.
Just came out
It
today.
just came out today.
Today,
It's
as
1:30
in
a.m.
Mhm.
June 16th,
June 16th.
Yeah.
2023.
It's 4 in the morning. Right
Yes,
now.
we are wearing the same shit that we'll wear in next week's episode, but
Yeah.
continuity.
Yeah.
You know what was great? Just at 12:01,
Yeah, we
hitting that
just-
play for the first time.
Yeah.
And
you know?
knowing everything about the record.
All
Just
automatically.
as soon as it was put on Spotify.
That kind of just speaks to our brilliance of having fully formed opinions that fast.
that fast, and we're just that smart.
Yeah.
And quick.
It's
you know?
we're so smart that all of the hair fell off of our heads.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I listen to music like in the Matrix. I just plug my ass
Yeah.
in and I just download it.
it's
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's
You're like
good.
an avatar with your tail plugging it into
It's
the
sick.
tree.
Yeah.
And then I just have a bit about a car crashing into a Wendy's.
And do a Cece's Pizza. Yeah. But today we're going to be reviewing the brand new album from Queens of the Stone Age, one of I don't know about you guys, but one of my favorite bands ever. They're putting out a new record this year. I would not have called them putting out a new record this year, but
This release cycle has been somewhat fast.
it's been pretty fast
for
I
like a
remember-
big time band.
I remember in 2017 when they put out Villains, it was like at least 3 months of
Dragged it
promo,
out.
but it's been only like a month, like when they announced that first single. But it's called In Times New Roman. It's a 10-track album. It's their 8th record, coming after 6 years of not doing anything since the release of their, I don't know, most polarizing record, probably Villains in 2017, a record produced by Mark Ronson, of all people.
The guy.
Who kind of messed with their sound to a point where it really made things not enjoyable.
I would agree with that. And
Yeah.
I don't. Mark Ronson kind of fell off after that.
Yeah, he really hasn't done much.
Mark
I mean, he's-
Ronson, Jack Antonoff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We've never seen them in the same room
No,
together.
he might
Yeah.
have just reinvented himself.
Yeah, after Villains, he just
Put on a
had to
pair of
change
glasses.
identity.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
He's like Superman with the glasses and the
He's still riding off the fucking Uptown Funk train.
Yeah, he is.
Which will never end.
Oh, he
Never
makes
end.
$38 every time somebody has a wedding or a bar mitzvah. Just cha-ching.
Dude, awesome.
That's it.
But yeah, I mean that record, Villains. I mean, when I first heard it, I thought, okay, here's some good songs here. But everything, just all the feeling, just felt so sucked out of that record. It just felt
Yeah.
like it was in a vacuum seal bag, and there was really nothing.
Well, in that goddamn video they put out for the way you used to do.
There was the video that
Sucks.
just kind of that put a bad taste in my mouth. It was their first record with John Theodore, who was their newest drummer, who's famous for being the original drummer of the Mars Volta. And
Wasn't he on Like Clockwork?
He was on Like Clockwork for one song.
Oh, yeah.
Dave Grohl did most of the drums on Like Clockwork.
Yeah, you're right.
But he was on that tour. I mean, everyone was kind of really excited to see what he was going to do on the record, and we've said it
Buried
before
him.
on this podcast, but they neutered his ass.
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was
they
basically a Roland like 808.
Yeah. Which, just so disappointing in so many ways. I mean, it's not a terrible record. I have listened to it and returned to
It's
it.
good songs.
Yeah, there's
There's
good
one that I
songs.
like, the one that's in an on-time signature. The can't get up, you sick right
Oh,
down.
yeah, Domesticated
I like
Animals.
that one.
Yeah.
I like The Evil
Yeah.
Has Landed.
I like Evil Has Landed. I like Domesticated Animals. Feet Don't Fail Me. It's good. It just could have been a lot better.
Yeah.
Just the whole record just could have been better.
If
got
it
knocked-
sounded like a Queen's record, it'd
Yeah.
probably be a pretty sick one.
It just
Yeah.
got knocked down so many points for the production.
Yeah.
And it's just a shame. But they're back in 2023. along with a lot of their counterparts from the mid 2000s who were in the same kind of genre and boat, like Foo Fighters and the Hives, who for some reason are all putting out like the best music
of
their career right now, or in many years.
It's because we started this podcast.
Everybody
knows
like,
rock's coming back, baby.
They need to please us.
Yeah, they need to curry our favor. We need to get good reviews on IQMB, or else it's done.
And once you got out of the music game, I think people can breathe.
You were filling that void for so long.
Finally, he's retired.
Can't compete with Dracula days. The fuck?
Finally, he's letting the Queen's creativity breathe a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of stealing everything from them.
Yeah. There's only so many fingers you can put in that
Exactly,
pie.
Yeah. But this record was just released, and
so happy it's Friday. You know.
So happy it's a
TGIF.
It's a good Friday. TGIF. Yeah. And we're getting treated with this record here. First impressions, knowing that they produced it themselves. There's Queens has always been kind of notable for having a lot of guests on their records, like Clockwork had people like Elton John and like Alex Turner from Arctic Monkeys and some of their past members too. No one of
just the boys.
No one of note is on this record. It's just Queens. The full band. It's really like one of their only records that has like all of the actual band members.
It's almost
playing
like
on it.
They went away to like a cabin in the woods and just like banged this out.
They went to Josh Homme's house and Rick Rubin's house.
Yeah. That's what it was. Mm-hmm. My first impression of this record was I really enjoyed it. Should we just start listening to
let
it?
it rip.
Yeah,
let's just let it rip. Let's start taking it in. This is the first track, Obscenery. I thought this one, the production for me on this one is like a little bit rough around the edges. The guitars are a little bit like raw and loud and I kind of like that though. But it sounds like an older Queen song to me, which is like kind of a theme for the whole record.
Yeah, and I think it's like an immediate course correction, when I heard it from Villains of like, oh, okay, so the entire album's gonna feel more full. It's gonna be vibier.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Yeah,
and this song and like you said, some of the other ones as well remind me a lot of like the first record.
Yeah,
like that more like a laid back kind of feel.
Yeah, like there's like stoner vibes on this one, which is like something that they've definitely strayed away from in more recent years and been like, oh, we're gonna transition to being like this dance band.
They could have easily stayed there.
Yeah, they could have stayed there.
And tons have.
But this is like one of the most unique riffs that they've put out since probably like Era Vulgaris. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just a weird fucking guitar riff.
Love that
weird
line.
Tone. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
That like just so like thumpy and gross.
Yeah, there's a lot of like classic Homme riffs. Like he has a weird guitar playing style. Like he's not like a super shredder, but he has very unique feel. Like he hears rhythms and plays in rhythms that I don't hear anybody else really playing.
Yeah, it always reminded me of like a faster and a little bit more like pointed like Tony Iommi style.
Yeah,
like
a little bit.
It's a little bit weirder, but he definitely like plays off of that like minor scale Sabbath.
If you ever watch his Guitar Moves episode that he did, like he kind of gets into that. He is I never realized how unique of a player he is. But yeah, there's some cool shit going on.
But yeah, this song's cool. I mean, like the guitars are heavy. That little string section in the middle adds a lot of flavor, and it just like kind of shows that like they're doing something way different than they did on Villains with this record, like right out the gate.
It got me pumped up because I like Evan said, course correction. You can tell right away that like they're like we're not fucking around.
Yeah.
On this one,
the press release says like this is a record of sonic brutality, and which sounds like really cheesy, but once you hear the song, you're like, okay, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think this song more than any other song on the record, I think this is like one of the more brutal ones. I would say in terms of like a riff. So I mean, I'm into this one. Let's move on. This is the second song, Paper Machete.
This reminds me of like a slower Little Sister.
Yeah.
Like very similar riff, and I think he even does in the chorus like that. Like those weird like guitar.
The Billy Gibbons lick.
Yeah.
There is like a sick fucking like very high pitched Little Sister-esque guitar solo at the end too.
Very Josh Homme type solo where it's like, I don't know what the fuck you're doing, but it kind of sounds cool.
The song reminds me of like Go With The Flow in Little Sister, and then also that one Hive song. Hate to Say I Told You So.
Yeah,
it
a little
has
bit.
that same like vibe to it. But I love this song. I think this like could be one of like, this could be a song on the radio when like Queens, you know, back in the day when they kind of like ruled the airwaves. Like I could see this kind of doing the same thing.
It's definitely one of the catchier songs on the record. I was kind of surprised they didn't release this as a single,
it feels
but
like a single.
I think maybe because it sounds a bit like Little Sister, people might have been like, "Oh, they're just rehashing shit."
Yeah, but it would have been nice, dude.
It would have been.
It would have been like, they're back.
Yeah. And John Theodore gets some on this fucking song. He has that like
some.
weird, like I think it's right here. No, it's at some point.
It's
but
during,
he
like,
does
the
like
Well,
a
the
great
album
beat.
just came out, so you know.
Yeah, it's hard to remember.
This is the
hard
first
to
time we're
remember all of
listening
it.
to it right now.
Yeah. But yeah, it's nice to hear him finally like get to spread his wings a little bit. This song more than any of the other tracks, I think. He's doing like the most. I think it's right here. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah,
Kind of a spacious drum sound too, across the whole bag.
Yeah, it's not like he's not playing like he does on like Deloused, but at least his drums sound like drums this time.
Yeah.
And not just like, you know, like sample pads.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's getting some. Dude.
Yeah,
he's putting in his piece of the pie. He's leaving his stamp. Finally,
He's in the promo photos for the band.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
he's
he
there
was
now.
at the last time,
Yeah.
I think. But yeah, I love this song. Usually like in an album that's like this dense, like a song that sounds so radio friendly, like wouldn't stick out to me after like a few listens of the record. But like I keep coming back to this one. It just kind of rocks hard. It makes me feel like I'm in 2005. You know what I mean?
That's really all we
That's
want.
what we're all
That's
going
all
for.
I want, dude.
Yeah.
Just to feel like I'm in a different time period than right now. You know what I mean?
That's what we're all going for.
Decades of mistakes ago, and I got the whole life ahead of me.
Exactly.
And everything's gonna be
Everything's
fine.
gonna be cool. I'm still in 5th grade.
Yeah, I haven't fucked anything up yet.
Exactly.
That's what I want.
I didn't fail my math test. I studied harder. Went to a better school.
The shit
Yeah,
I
I
need
didn't
is to
just-
clean my room.
Yeah.
I didn't go to just the first college I got an acceptance letter from, and was just like, "Yeah, I'm done."
Yeah,
There's
give me
still
that.
time.
Mm-hmm.
And Queens of the Stone Age are the arbiter for that.
Yeah.
You know, there's still time.
And you're like, yes.
Let's move on. This is probably my favorite track off the
Drum
record.
beat's cool.
This song's called Negative Space.
The bass lines are really cool. This is so classic Queens.
This
just
like
that rhythm.
Yeah. They played it live. It was like the one song that
Oh,
they like
yeah.
didn't release, but like people had heard it because they played it live at like Sonic Temple in Boston Calling. Yeah, this like as soon as I heard it, I was like, damn, this sounds like the self-titled record.
Big time.
Like it's a riff that just like there's nothing poppy about it. Like it's just a fucking groove, and that vocal harmony just reminds me of like, I don't know, not Caius, but I guess just early Queens, like even
Homme
like
has
the
a
demo
way, like a
tapes.
thing, like the way he harmonizes and like shit he does with his vocals that really makes Queens unique. I mean, obviously because he's singing on everything,
Yeah.
but like it's kind of like his style, and it's all over this whole thing, and I think it lends itself well to these songs.
Yeah, I mean, there's other great parts of this song too. Like I like how defined the verse and chorus are here. It's like there's really no tricks up the sleeve of the song, other than just like maybe that one part where all the harmonies kind of come in and converge and get really loud.
That part is cool.
Yeah, that
where
was
he's
kind of
like
a wow moment.
Yeah,
on this
where
record.
the riff is like usually just played on like one guitar
Yeah.
and the bass, and then everything
Yeah.
in unison. That part is sick.
Yeah, where it's like, like that's really
Yeah.
sick. Bass line's sick on this song too.
Very
Mikey
cool.
Shoes from Queens is a very underrated bassist.
He's
I mean,
sick.
He's ripped it up. He ripped it up on Villains on a lot of those songs. Like Evil Is Landed.
Did he take over for Oliveri, like post Songs for the Deaf?
No, it was Oliveri, and then it was Alan Johannes, who was like the touring guy from for them Crooked Vultures. But he's like
yeah.
he's like a very talented dude. But they got Mikey Shoes like around like their Vulgaris tour, and he was just a touring member, and then he
rocks.
Got announced at their bases. But yeah, he's had some crazy fucking bass lines in their records.
His tone's really good too. Like it cuts through.
It's very fuzzy. It's very fuzzy on this song too. But the guitar solo on this song, like that harmonized guitar solo, fucking rules. This is just them like going back to basics, going back to like what they did when they first started, not caring if that's gonna like make sense in the pop world or like in the modern world. Which that's kind of just a huge theme that I love from this record, is that it sounds like it doesn't care about
trends
or what anyone else is going to be interested
whereas
in. Whereas
Villains was very much a trends-minded record.
It cared way too much.
Hard. It cared a lot.
There was like a lot of those, like that production of, if you're going to have guitars, the drums are going to be like non-existent, and it's basically going to be an electronic song, but it just happens to be composed of rock elements.
Yeah, this is definitely just a fucking rock song. There's really no thrills about it. Like it's like verse, chorus, verse, fucking guitar solo, bridge. And
I like
all
this bridge a lot.
Yeah, this is
like,
a great bridge.
An ascending,
His falsetto here too is fucking. That's sick.
That is sick.
Yeah, he's able to hit some crazy ass notes with his voice. Let's move on. This song's called Time and Place.
God bless whoever the guitar. It's probably Troy Van Leeuwen who has to do the don't. If they do this
just
song
the
live,
entire time.
that's the goofiest. It's so out of time compared to the. I mean, it's not out of time, but it's
they're like playing against each other.
Yeah,
what's that called? Like a polyrhythm,
Yeah.
where like they're doing that, but that sucks that he has to do that part.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
I really like this one. For me, this is like one of the most different songs I've ever heard Queens do ever, maybe. Like, this song, and it's going to sound nerdy, but you know exactly what I'm going to say, because you hear it too. But it reminds me of a King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard song. Like,
What
playing
song?
off just any of them.
Just
how their songs are structured.
King Giz loves polyrhythms.
It's like polyrhythm and then playing off of like using one guitar motif for
then
the
like
entire track.
in the bass line kind of drone.
And just kind of playing off of it. Like there's really not much going on. Like it feels like a jammy song.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It's like a very spacey. It starts getting very spacey. Is my least favorite song on the record.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I thought it was really cool. I just like its uniqueness, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not a song that I feel like I would return to. I think it kind of makes sense in the context of the record, but
there's not a strong chorus or verse here.
no, it kind of like reveals its coolest part immediately.
Yeah,
like the coolest part is hearing that rhythm come in against that like weird. And there's nothing bad in it, but it's just not that like rewarding of a listen to me.
No, I can see that. It doesn't really get to doesn't build towards anything. It just kind of meanders, but like it's kind of what I like about it. Like you don't really ever hear Queens doing something that's this chill and stays in one place. And
but this one does like the thing I touched on before is like this one does like one of the more Queens things that they do all the time is like those like creepy like
there's
like
a lot of spaciness in
on this
song.
one,
Yeah.
like almost like ghostly, vocal lines and stuff.
I don't know. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, I could see why this could be like a polarizing track on the record. People being like, there's nothing really concrete here. But that's kind of what I like about it. I like this part, like the lyrics about like comparing someone to a burnout cigarette. That's kind of a classic Josh Homme ism.
I love too,
smoke
like
cigarettes.
on the record, there's so many like play on words.
Yeah.
You know, like,
every song.
Obscenery, paper machete, Carnavoyeur.
Sisters.
Yeah, what the Peephole Say.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like Suture Up Your Future.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
I kind of like that. Yeah, you're right. Every fucking song is like, or even the album title, "In Times New Roman."
There's just
like,
some sort of pun there.
Yeah.
That's just like so goofy
He's
and stupid.
Maybe Josh Homme's trying to be the Riddler, dude. What is this?
He
all
kind
mean?
of is the Riddler.
He is the Riddler,
If you like listen to interviews and stuff, it's so because I used to be fucking obsessed with Queen,
Yeah.
so I would just like listen to Josh Homme interviews and podcasts and stuff where he was on there, and he just like rehashes the same phrases over and over again.
I don't know, Zane Lowe. Here's a clue.
Yeah, he just has like a whole a arsenal of like little stupid like riddles and phrases that he like loves to repeat.
He might be the Riddler, dude.
Yeah, he kind of is the Riddler.
Josh Homme is being charged for blowing up the Brooklyn Bridge after.
Yeah.
He's the one that caught that truck on fire in Philadelphia on I-95.
That's a big accusation there.
Oh.
And you're hearing it here first.
Yep. Boom.
We have accused someone of a crime.
This video is gonna blow up.
Let's move on.
Yep.
Here's a song called Made to Parade. Yeah, another kind of pun, a little bit. Made to Parade. This song, when it first started, and my first listen to this, I was like, okay, here's my least favorite.
Oh, yeah?
When I first heard it, because I was just like, you got this like bluesy kind of like typical Queens thumping riff here. It doesn't sound like anything different than anything that they've ever done like on like Era Vulgaris or maybe Lullabies.
What brought you back?
As it keeps going on, I felt like it just like the way it builds with instrumentation, like the riff on the second go around has that little like that nice little piano flourish there, and it kind of spices things up. Especially the like pre-chorus here is like also very spacey and just like such a different vibe than that big thumping riff that comes in. Like this whole part is like feels orchestral a little bit instead of just like riff rock.
Yeah, it has like to me like a very, as it goes on, it has like a very 70s vibe to me.
Yeah. Sounds like Iggy Pop.
To me, there's a couple songs that sound very Bowie to me. And this one, how he sings and kind of the way that the music, kind of that rhythm, like you said, that like bluesy kind of hop, reminds me of like some like mid-era Bowie stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
You could compare his voice to Bowie's in a lot of ways.
Big time.
He's getting a lot more Bowie-ish. Like on Like Clockwork, it was pretty like evident, but here there's a ton of like Iggy and Bowie moments, and I mean he worked with Iggy, so like on that whatever that album was.
Oh yeah, he produced
Post-Pop
it.
Depression. Well, I think he they wrote it together.
Oh,
it was
okay.
a collab record. But yeah, like you could tell how much kind of rubbed off on him in a good way. You know, like none of this sounds like anything on that record. Like I think that record was a lot less brutal in terms of like
and like he's
riffs of this
I mean
sort.
Iggy's hugely influential on so many rock musicians. So inevitably, you know, especially if you meet that fucking guy, you know, it's gonna make its way onto your stuff.
Especially if you're friends with him.
Yeah, if you're buds, if you have his phone number.
You've gotten to see him with a shirt on. That's how you know you're friends with Iggy.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, this song, I like it a lot, but in terms of the whole record, it's not.
It's
like,
definitely lower.
It's a little lower for me.
I did like some of like the. It's kind of theatrical, I guess is what I would call it, which is kind of an interesting flavor.
It has that circus vibe
It does,
that was like so heavy on Era Vulgaris.
Yeah.
Which like I love that they went back that far to 2007 to make a song that sounds like one of their older albums, but like that was kind of a fault in Era Vulgaris where it was like it's kind of too goofy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that album is a very fucking goofy record.
It's a mixed bag. I mean, like, 3s and 7s and fucking 666 are, like, so good.
Yeah. Then there's, like, Battery Acid and the first track, I don't know why, I can't remember what it's called. But, yeah, there's some, like, really odd moments on that record. Run, Pig, Run. I don't know if you've...
I can't remember. I think I listened to it like once back and forth, and I was like,
it's I love that record, but yeah, it's a little bit too much of like an X factor that they try to put in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, this reminds me a lot of Era Vulgaris, which just kind of cool to hear that. You know, they're going back. They're going
That's
really
the trend.
I really like that they incorporated an album that I actually don't really like that much, but I think that's sick.
You know, it's just a part of like, I was such a huge Queens fan. Just like, so anything they put out, I was like, it's the best.
It's the best.
You just like to see them running all the bases. They're touching them all.
They really are touching them all on this record. That's how I felt about it. It's an album
Except
for
Villains.
the Queens fan. Yeah, exactly. Here's a second single they put out, Carnavoyeur. What do you guys think of this song?
This might be one of my favorites. I really like how it like blows up into totally overblown clipping nothing at the end.
Yeah,
that's kind of a cool way to end the
explodes.
Song. It explodes, but I kind of like the spaciness of it. Yeah. You know, you can really hear the sound of the drums when this starts.
Yeah, I love the groove of this record. That deep fucking bass that comes in, that like phased
that
out,
too.
just like.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It might be my favorite song on the album. This one. It's kind of laid back, but still the production's really good and big. And
I think this has the best production on any of the songs. Like a lot of the songs they're all good production, but they sound pretty similar.
Yeah.
Whereas this one has kind of almost like an old school like soul vibe.
Yeah.
A bit
yeah.
with like the way how spaced out everything is, how much you can hear the drums, and again Bowie, big time.
Yeah, this one reminded me of Bowie the most, like particularly like Black Star.
It's
Bowie.
like rockin' Bowie.
But yeah, this part great, like the chords here, just like giving off that like Wicked Game Chris Isaac, like Save a Prayer, Duran Duran type of vibe.
Yeah,
like,
there you go.
You know, like Queen's always just felt like on the brink of making a song like that.
Love this.
Yeah, that needly fucking guitar.
So good.
Yeah.
He does have a great ear for like guitar tones that I would be like, well, that sounds like shit, but he's able to like incorporate them in ways that sound awesome.
Yeah, it is like so sharp that you're gonna be like, maybe tone it down a little bit, but like it somehow works.
They delve into where shrillness can become acceptable.
Yeah. The only thing I would say I would change, I do like the song a lot, and I could see why it was a single. I almost kind of wanted it. Wish it was the first one.
Comparing it to the first single, this one is a logical second one because it's different.
The only thing I would change about the song is that like when they come back around to do that pre-chorus again, they do the same thing that they did the first time. So I'm like, I wish it like had that same sort of like change that the rest of the songs do.
Yeah, almost every song is taking left turns when you're expecting it to be.
This one doesn't really do that.
No, which makes sense that it's a single because I remember hearing Emotion Sickness and this and both thinking like these aren't the strongest singles I've heard from Queens.
Yeah,
because like because they can write just like a banger pop song.
Yeah.
But hearing on the record, I was like, those are probably two of the catchier songs.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, like for as much as this record gives you, there's not a ton to like hang on to.
Yeah.
Like there's not many choruses that you can come back and sing along to, other than like Negative Space. I feel like is one you can actually like remember the words to, but like Time and Place and Made to Parade, they really don't have that.
Yeah.
But still cool.
Still Queens, baby.
Let's keep going. Here's What the Peephole Say. What the People Say.
This is my favorite song on the record.
Yeah.
I love this bass line. I love it has like a punk energy.
Yeah.
More so than any of the other songs on it.
Such an urgency.
Yeah. And I love Homie's singing on this.
Yeah.
Very Homie.
It's so swagged out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And this is the Homie I love the most. Just because he sounds cool in a way that rock guys don't anymore.
Yeah.
You know? He's one of the few guys that actually still has, like, some swag.
Yeah.
That he can go out there and...
Toothpick leather jacket wearing.
And you take it seriously.
Yeah.
You know?
It's not cheesy,
he's one of the only guys where, like, the leather jacket, you're like, you should be wearing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. For sure.
When you see it, it's not cringy.
You're like, that
It's
is
like,
sick.
no, that's you.
Yeah.
That's actually sick.
Yeah.
And he's sporting this, like, goatee now, too.
Yeah, he looks like a pirate
he looks
now.
sick. He looks so sick.
If he had the eye patch, dude.
Oh, man. Forget about it.
You get the Sam Smith collection.
Yeah.
You'll know what that is Sunday.
He looks like a judge on Forged in Fire.
He does. He 100% does. He can tell you, he's like, you quenched the Damascus blade a little too early.
A little bit too much weight here on your tang.
Yeah.
Will it kill?
Yeah, exactly.
Damn, what a niche bit that is.
I know. That's wild.
That one's just for us, man.
Yeah, let's not clip that one out. But yeah, I love this song too. I think it's great. It does remind me like so much of a song that was on Villains called Head Like a Haunted House. Like it has like basically the same structure, like driven by.
Isn't that the one that Zane Lowe shit on him for?
I don't remember.
What did he do again?
He was like, so this song, Head Like a Haunted House. I forget, but
Zane Lowe shit on him a lot in that interview.
I should watch that again.
Yeah, it's wild to watch. You can kind of tell there's like a little bit of like, it's not that good. He kind of can feel it. But yeah, it reminds me so much of Head Like a Haunted House to the point where I'm like, it just feels like they just know they fucked that song up with production, because that song does sound bad.
Yeah.
Even though it's a really cool song, it's probably the one that is the least suited for the Mark Ronson production of anything on that record. So hearing this, it's just like they wanted to make a song that's like that, and like they wanted to do it right.
I love this part.
Yeah, this song, this part rules. This is one of the coolest bridges in the song, in the album. I mean, but yeah, like I'm just glad that they took that structure and like made a punk song and did it right, and it just sounds so much more like robust.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it, but
yeah, I mean that album sounded so brittle.
Yeah,
like you could just you held it in your hands and turned to fucking chalk.
When you're doing that on a song that's like so fast, at such a huge like a fucking speedy punk rock tempo with like fast guitar, like fucking down chugging guitars,
and your rhythm section is like you have a sick bassist and an unbelievably sick drummer.
Like you just don't want that production to ever touch you.
You need that fat fat ass.
Yeah,
dude.
this song has such a fat ass.
Yeah, this song has what's his name's fat ass.
Beardo, dude.
Beardo's fat ass.
Yeah. Tony Potato.
Another bit for no one.
For no one. No one liked it either.
No one liked that bit.
We like it.
But yeah, that's what the people say. Let's move on. Here's a song called Sicily.
I like this one. Doesn't this one have like some orchestral shit going on?
Yeah, it's like it gets very big and like theatrical.
Yeah.
I thought this was the spookiest song on the record.
You know you're going to get at least one.
Yeah, I know. This vocal reminded me a lot of Lullabies to Paralyzed. Like, I feel like I hadn't heard him do like a straight up falsetto in a long time that sounds like this, and especially against like a trudging instrumental like this, like just kind of thumping going forward.
The way he doubles vocals, like across many of their records, he sounds like he's in a bathroom, like very much so.
Bit,
and he uses it to his advantage, I think.
But yeah, this riff that comes in is really like, I don't know, it sounds like Batman, like flying over.
It does.
You know what I mean?
Batman. Like I could hear that in a trailer 100%.
Like him like looking over a watchtower and just like it fits so well.
It's because he's the Joker.
He's
dude.
the Riddler.
No, the Riddler.
Oh yeah,
fuck.
Cut that out.
Blew it.
But yeah, I thought this song was really cool. I wish it kind of built upon itself a little bit more instead of just going back to that riff.
It has like a Middle Eastern sound to it, like Egyptian kind of like pyramids.
Again,
shit.
that's like classic Queen.
Yeah.
Like weird scales and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's the Mixolydian.
Yeah, the Mixolydian scale.
The Nickelodeon.
It's the Nickelodeon scale, dude.
Yeah,
I wasn't super hot on this one. I feel similar to Time and I like this more than Time and Space or Time and Place. But it has like a similar kind of like, it does feel at times meandering.
Yeah, it doesn't go to the places you'd expect it to go.
Yeah.
For a song that sounds this big, it keeps it pretty like mellow and
it's weird. It's weird too because like when I'm listening to a record and like sometimes I'm expecting pop songs, you have to also take into account like when they landed on those sounds, they were just probably like, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
And we're gonna put that on the record. We might not be able to incorporate it into a song.
It is a riff that like if you came across, you're like, we have to.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. That's enough.
That's the best. One of the best things.
Being in a band that plays riffs over and over again, I totally know what you guys
it doesn't
are
even sound like guitars.
No,
it's like I mean,
it sounds like Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, it is. It gets a standout in that way. I think, like where you're just like,
I like this song.
Yeah, it creates a moment on the record.
Yeah, for
still.
sure. Yeah.
A little diversity.
Even though it's not the strongest like song, it's definitely like a whoa.
I could hear one of those like like the I don't know what it is, but it's like some sort of like clarinet. That kind of shit over this.
Shit. Like
there's a word for it.
Like the thing that the snake guy plays?
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck.
Whatever the fuck those are.
I think it's called a snake flute.
A snake flute.
The cobra.
A skin flute.
I was gonna say vuvuzela.
No.
And I was like, that's not what it is.
This is annoying
that's like
fucking
the noise thing.
The guys in King Giz probably know what it is.
Yeah,
that's
They're about to announce a vinyl just on the snake flute.
They're a snake flute record, dedicated record. Yeah.
They talk about it.
Yeah,
they do it on Microtonal Banana.
Yeah, we got the snake flute.
It's a snake flute
record.
Snake
you have to be really careful where you play it, though.
The snakes will come
Not
out
around any snakes.
and bite you.
You can only play it on a ladder. Snakes don't know how to use the ladder.
Snakes don't have legs. They
don't
can't
have
climb
legs
a ladder.
or arms.
They don't have feet. That's the problem with the snake.
Like snakes, yeah.
They wish they did.
They wish they had. Oh god, that's a
let's just
stupid bit.
No, that's gonna be the name of the next King. Snakes wish
Snakes
they
They had feet.
Crazy.
Crikey,
Mike.
Emotion Sickness, the first single.
We talked about this one.
We did talk about it. I still like it in the context of the record.
Second to last, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's placed pretty poorly on the record.
I think this. I mean, I don't think Obscenery is a bad opener, but this would be like a kick-ass opener.
Yeah. It should have been the opener.
It was probably that one or Obscenery. You could probably
because
swap
Obscenery has that like weird, like where it dips down and then it's like strings and shit.
Yeah.
Which is a bold choice, but that's fine second.
It would have been better suited like midpoint in the record, somewhere around there. This one like even has like the door opening and him like humming at the beginning.
I wonder why they didn't do that.
Yeah, it's like fits so well as an intro song and has that fucking.
This is where we find out that we don't have the listing right. We sound like a fucking idiot. But we are listening to it right now on Spotify. This is how it's listed on Spotify.
Yeah, this is it.
But yeah, it's just I don't know. Like it has such a thumping groove. The chorus is great too. It has like fucking ZZ Top vibes. Yeah.
Slide guitar.
In the context of the record, like it still sounds good to me. I just wish it was somewhere else.
Yeah.
It just doesn't set up the finale.
Yeah, you want more.
Yeah.
And then they kind of just drop you off.
Yeah.
This song has gotten better since the first time I heard it. Like the first time I heard it, I was like, this is a good Queen song, like a good return to form.
Yeah.
But I think this is one of the best songs on the record.
Yeah, me too.
And the riff is just so like.
It's easy to write off a first single when you listen to a whole album, but like when you hear this, it's like, nah.
Yeah.
Let it play. Let it play. It rules. Since we've talked about this one before, let's just go to the finale, which is the 9-minute song "Straight Jacket Fitting." What did you guys think of this one?
This one was my least favorite one.
Really?
Yeah, I just don't think it needed to be 9 minutes.
I would agree with that.
It's only 6 minutes.
Really?
Well, I don't count that 3-minute fucking acoustic horseshit. That doesn't count.
Regardless,
you're right.
I don't think
you know what I mean.
You are right about it.
I mean, it's not that good of a groove. I don't think to warrant being done for that long.
Yeah, I mean, even at 6 minutes, it's definitely stretching its itself thin. I do like the lyrics on it.
Yeah, I do too.
Not a ton of these songs did I like. The lyrics started sticking with me, but this one did. I think I think it's a good outro of the album just because it takes basically all the stuff that we've established and kind of leaving them at a logical conclusion. I really like this part, this kind of like floaty sort of deal.
Yeah, I mean this one is the most like the Made to Parade song on the record, with that like kind of sleazy blues trudge riff. So like it has a goofy element to it, and I feel like the melody is kind of has that same like goofy factor to it, which I like more here. Like that, like that's gonna get stuck in my head so much. But yeah, I would agree that like around the 4.5 minute mark, you're like, it could end right here, and be like a very cool song.
I was just expecting more out of an album closer, something big, mighty, epic, or something. It didn't really get there for me.
I like how this closer.
Maybe it'll grow on me. This is only the first couple of times I've listened to it.
Yeah. But I like how this closer, out of like what they've done with like Clockwork and Villains, like both of those closers on the album are very like melancholy, don't make a lot of use of guitars. Like, it's cool to hear them do something really heavy with a final track on a record.
Yeah.
They haven't done that in a while.
And for the record, it is 9 minutes long, but there's like a 3-minute long acoustic kind of like.
And I think it's like supposed to be the chords of Obscenery. Like it sounds like it. So maybe it's supposed to like kind of be like a
like a
rock,
whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like one of those things that you'll probably either listen to once or on accident.
Yeah.
But once the silence comes up, you're probably gonna skip it every time.
Yeah.
Well,
I know. I know what you mean. It's not necessary, but
they're just following the bands making long songs on their album trend.
I did 9.5. Dump it at the end.
Yeah. I did like this song.
We did that.
Yeah.
I thought it was a cool closer. Not like a huge highlight for me, but still like a very Queen's fucking riff and song structure. And he has this whole like rant in the middle of the song where he sounds like a totally different front man. Like he sounds angry. And he's like,
he's been through a lot, man.
Yeah. Well, they had, you know, he's
since
been in the
Villains.
fucking news since Villains dropped, pretty much. And
a lot.
He even did that interview that came out a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Right. That he like even more shit happened to him. He had cancer.
Yeah. There's like a couple mentions of cancer on the record. I know in this album.
Yeah.
He's
on this song. I mean.
I think rightfully so, exercising a few demons here.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's an angry record.
Yeah,
if
it is.
anything.
Yeah.
He also talks about like there's a lot of like his friends that died over the years. He had like 11 of his really good friends like.
Yeah, because he was close with Taylor and I know Lanigan.
And Bourdain was like one of his dudes too.
Yeah.
But it's weird to be both like an angry record, but also one of their more mellow.
Yeah,
you know?
it's such a weird like mixture of vibes for Queens. Like it sounds so much like their older stuff. Like you can pin a lot of these songs to one of their older records. Like I feel like there's a little bit of Rated R in there. There's a lot of lullabies. There's a little bit of like Clockwork.
Self-titled.
We said before the self-titled. There's not a lot of songs for the deaf vibes on here.
No.
But
could have used some if.
Yeah, you could use some. There even is a little bit of Era Vulgaris and even Villains there with some of them. Not in terms of production, but maybe songwriting. But overall, I mean, like I really enjoyed the record. I thought it was great. Such a cool return to form for Queens. And
should we rate it?
Well, let me say my piece.
Oh, sure, sorry.
And then you guys can say your pieces.
Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, like me being such a huge Queens fan for like my whole life, this feels like a Queens album for the fans. You know what I mean? Like they're like really giving you everything you like ask for. You know, even though they probably weren't trying to do that whatsoever. It just feels like here's everything that like from our past, our present, and like a little bit, you know, of what we're trying to do. Like even with like little experimental jams, like Time and Place, I thought was like a new idea for them, and maybe Sicily as well. But yeah, I mean, the only critiques I would give this record is that the production is a little brittle at times, a little bit. You know, the guitars can be kind of too harsh, too loud in some spots. But like perfect in other spots. Some of the songs don't hit as well, but they're still like highlights. Like I don't think I would skip any of these songs. There's nothing I've wanted to skip since I've been listening to it. The track listing, the sequencing is kind of all over the place for me. I don't think it was like there's really no flow to the record.
No.
Like nothing seems like it fits in its right place. Like I would have put Emotion Sickness first. I would have probably put Obscenery towards the middle. Carnavoyeur maybe closer to the end, if anything.
Yeah, I would have moved Peephole up.
Yeah, People probably in the front a little bit. Yeah, it just they used to do this thing where they would, you know, kind of connect all their songs by like a motif or an interlude that comes in at the end of a song and it kind of flows in, and that doesn't happen here whatsoever. Every song kind of has its own place, which is cool, but it's also cool to
when
do
you
that.
connect the stuff.
Yeah, when you do that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of missed for me too. Yeah, so like listening to it is kind of like, damn, there's just so much to unpack, and there's really no place to like start, you know. But yeah, I think it's I think it's a robust record. If anything, there's a lot going on here. A lot of great songs. Not a lot of choruses to hold on to, but it kind of seems like it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Like you still want to go back and listen to it as many times as you want, you know. So I'd give it like an 8 out of 10 if it was me.
You want to
go? Sure. Yeah, I like it. I do like it. I don't think I like it as much as you.
I figured that.
You know, if you probably haven't seen our Patreon episodes, but my rating system is if all the songs are listenable, you get a 5.
Yeah,
because I try
really
to make
generous.
this as scientific
One of the
as
most
possible.
generous rating systems ever.
Of all time. So it's a 5 easy.
And nothing's gotten over a 5 yet in this rating system, I don't think.
I don't think so.
I think I may have given 5-1 to the Theory of a Dead Man.
Did it break the threshold?
Nice.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a really good course correction. I think there are no real lowlights on the album, but I would say that there aren't as many highlights as I was hoping for. You know, like even on, like we're talking about, like Air Vulgaris, which is considered by many like one of their worst. Mm-hmm. You have like all-time bangers, similar with Lullaby. Mm-hmm. So there's not really any of those on this record. Yeah. I think they all kind of work as a piece, and it is one of more so than a lot of their records. It does feel the most like it doesn't have that interconnectivity, but there's like a vibe through the whole record that isn't always the case. Like sometimes they go like so far off left field in some of the records. Yeah. So that being said, I do enjoy it. I wouldn't put it up there with like any of my favorite of their records or anything like that. And the fact that there's not a ton of like stickiness to the hooks and stuff. I think I'm gonna go 6-8.
Wow. 6-8.
That's lower than I thought, but I thought you would give it a 7. So it's pretty much the same.
Close.
Yeah,
it's
pretty close. But no, that makes sense. I agree with you on one of the points. I just think I enjoyed the songs a little bit more. What about you?
Well, yeah. What I like the most about the album is kind of, I like a lot of the songs. A lot of them, I'll come back to and that kind of thing. But what I really like the most is kind of like the statement the band made with it, in that there's like, we've talked about a ton of them, like after coming off a record of like Villains, which I think we all regard, and I think a lot of Queens of the Stone Age fans would regard as like one of their worst, like not really, that doesn't do much for the people that have followed the band for years. And what I really love about this album is that they kind of like proved that they can still do it, which is really cool. Like you kind of said, like it's a fan servicey album, so to speak, and which I really like. And like I think of an analogy, not an analogy, but like whenever I watch like a superhero movie, I don't want to see like a movie full of Bruce Wayne. I want to see Batman all the time, and so this one gives you a lot of Batman, and that being like heavy guitars, sick riffs, what I'm saying?
That's a good analogy.
And so
there's a lot of Batman.
There's a shitload of Batman in this.
Shitload of Batman.
Yeah.
And it gives me hope that they're some of my other favorite band, like they're not like young pups anymore.
Yeah.
No, they're old salty dogs.
They're old salty dogs, but old salty dogs can still make kick-ass records that sound good, and everyone's on the album, all the players and all the songs sound very comfortable. Yeah. Whereas the one prior, Villains, sounded very like under the gun, like we gotta make a pop record, dude. We gotta do this. We're working with fucking Mark Ronson now. Let's do this. So with all that said, I think I'm gonna split the difference here. I'm gonna give it a 7.7 out of 10. 7.7 out of 10. I liked it a lot, and
you calculated?
We got an official rating.
I thought you might be on your calculator.
I'm on my calculator.
He has it out.
I was calculating the score. We're at a solid 7.5.
There it is.
Which
folks.
should.
I think that
that's fair.
Completely makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just didn't expect to like this record at all when I first like heard that they were releasing an album.
The album cover definitely. When you showed me the album cover, I was like, "What the?" Fuck?
Yeah, I was like, "This thing looks ugly."
It's like a snake man wearing
leather
a leather jacket with a
wolf head.
Yeah,
on his hair. Yeah, I was just expecting, like, just going off of Villains, like after Villains came out, I was like, I hope they don't make another record. You know,
that's exactly my point.
Yeah, I was like, I just don't think it's gonna go well.
Look at where the Black Keys went. They made a bad one and they continue to make bad ones.
But I was just so pleasantly surprised by this. I think I agree with you guys, but also I liked it a lot.
That makes a lot of sense, though.
Yeah, it does make
it's
a lot of sense.
woven into the fabric of Nate Cross.
Yeah, truly. But that's our review of the new Queens of the Stone Age record, In Times New Roman. Go check it out.
Out today.
Wherever you get your music. We hope you enjoyed our commentary on it. This is our first review we're ever putting on YouTube.
Yeah,
that hasn't been on Patreon. But go check out the Patreon.
Yeah,
and subscribe.
Those reviews are funnier.
Way funnier.
Yeah.
A
This
little
is
dry.
more serious.
Yeah, a little more subdued.
Yeah.
But everyone, thanks everyone for watching. This has been I Quit My Band. We'll see you next time.